What's going on? It's Chris with Dan Libby Refrigeration, Heating, and Air Conditioning. I wouldn't say today's a day off, but it is Saturday and I'm not on call, but still always working. Life of a business owner, I guess. So today, or right now, just talk about sequence of operation, right? You want to be a service tech. Hold on, damn seatbelt's going off here. You want to be a service tech, and you want to be able to diagnose something. You got to know how it works, right? Because if you don't know how it's supposed to work when there's no problem, then it's going to be real hard to find the problem, right? So, like every single piece of equipment that you work on, well, every 99.9% of the piece of equipment that you're going to work on, I guarantee you there is some sort of manual, whether it's an installation manual, service manual. There is a manual somewhere, either on site in paper, hopefully, or it's on the internet. Everything's on the freaking internet. So as a new tech, even a seasoned tech, if you've never worked on a piece of equipment or that model or that brand of equipment, one of the first things you should be doing is finding the model number and downloading the service manual on that piece of equipment. Google, let's say it's a Bryant model number ABCD 123. So I would Google Bryant furnace model number ABCD 123 service manual PDF. So just type in that word PDF in your search, and you should be able to find a free, so you don't need to pay for any of this stuff, free service manual on that piece of equipment. I also advise that when you are downloading a manual for a piece of equipment you're working on, to save it on your phone. I have the iBooks on my phone, and anytime I work on a piece of equipment, especially one I haven't worked on before, I will download the service manual, installation manual, whatever I can find on it, and save it in my phone. Because the chances are, if it's one of your customers, you might work on that piece of equipment again, or you just might come across that piece of equipment again, right? So download it, save it on your phone. You might need it in the future. As a new tech, if I got a new guy working for me and he's out by himself in the field and he's calling me because he doesn't know what to do, and he hasn't pulled or downloaded the installation manual or service manual on that piece of equipment, he's fucking wrong, right? And I'll tell him, download the manual and then call me back, right? If you haven't at least done that, you shouldn't be calling looking for help, right? These manuals are pretty good. They'll tell you step by step, especially if the unit's given an error code or something like that, what to do, what problems to look for, how to diagnose it, all that sort of stuff, right? So download the manual, right? As a new service tech, you should know the basic sequence of operation on the piece of equipment you're working on, right? For example, we'll talk about a gas-fired furnace, right? So gas-fired furnace is calling for heating, 24 volts, coming back on W1. Most units have a little computer board. Little computer board says calling for heat. It will then send voltage to the draft inducer motor. The draft inducer will turn on. There's going to be a set of pressure switches or draft switches. So draft inducer turns on. Draft switch is going to close. That switch tells the board, yes, there is draft. Then either the igniter will spark and ignite, or the hot surface igniter will start to glow. Gas valve will open. Burner will ignite. The flame sensor will sense the flame and tell the board, yes, there is flame. Keep the gas valve open. Gas valve will stay open. The burner will run either on time or temperature. The indoor blower will then kick on, providing heat to the home or the room or whatever, right? So that's the sequence of operation, basic sequence of operation for a gas-fired furnace. Call for heat, draft inducer, pressure draft switch makes, igniter ignites, or hot surface igniter glows, gas valve opens, the burner lights, flame sensor will sense the flame, gas valve will stay open, blower will turn on. So that's the sequence of operation for a gas-fired furnace. So you need to know that so that when there is a no heat call and there's an issue, you'll know what's working and what's not working. And if you were to download the manual, in that service manual, there's a section of sequence of operation, and it tells you the sequence of operation for that equipment and any other equipment that you're working on. Most manuals have a section of sequence of operation, okay? So start knowing that. Most gas-fired furnaces, it's the more or less, it's the same sequence of operation. There's, some of them have different components. Some manufacturers call items different things, whether it's igniter, they might say electrode, they just call them different things, right? Different manufacturers. So do some research on that. Sequence of operation, start with one appliance. It's heating season right now, so and furnaces, gas-fired, forced hot air furnaces are pretty common, but that's the sequence of operation of a gas-fired furnace. A condensing wall-hung boiler, of course, the sequence is going to be pretty much the same. There's just going to be some different components in there, and of course, everything's going to look different, but that's my tip for the day, is know the sequence of operation for the equipment that you're working on, the basic sequence of operation. But without that, it's going to be real tough trying to figure out what's wrong, right? So, all right, that's Saturday, and we'll see you on the next one here. Thanks.